Hello everyone. So I wanted to give you this week's update on Javed. So he just finished his second round of chemo. And so now he's going to have basically around a 10-day off period, right? And then he would resume the third round of chemo. So this chemo treatment is 3 different sets of chemo drugs. So it's really, really intense. And I know, all chemotherapy is intense. And so the biggest thing he's struggling with right now is just this extreme nausea. And for some of us who've had children and had, that morning sickness for the first trimester, we know a little bit of how that feels. And it's just excruciating from what I understand. So he has to really be careful that he's getting in enough food and, of course, that he's staying hydrated, which is a challenge. He says when he eats, I guess he was describing something to me with his saliva, and it's so painful, like the first set of eating, So it's not just a matter of him working up the appetite to eat. I think the chemo is just doing things to his body where even just actually eating is really, really, really painful for him. So I guess a very good prayer and timely prayer this time would be just that the nausea kind of stays at bay, or he's able to kind of distract his mind enough to just kind of get through that extreme nausea, and that he's able to keep his calorie intake up and stay hydrated, because of course dehydration could lead to him having to go for drips and all of that, and we want to avoid that. So everything is on track in terms of that timeline, the chemo. So really nothing more to update on that. And he's still scheduled to have the surgery, his major surgery, in August, to go in, remove that tumor, and then kind of address what other organs around might need. Maybe not full removal, obviously that's what we're hoping, but some kind of partial removal. So those are 2 things, to keep in prayer. But otherwise, things are fine. My mother was able to go down and be with Javed this week. So that was really special, especially for her. Some of us on this are mothers, and so we can imagine the anxiety she's having. So that was really good that she was able to go and be with him. In terms of the wider family, this was a hard week for the Bachews. We lost 2 uncles. So my father's 2 eldest brothers both passed away on Monday in Trinidad. So that was a hard blow for the family, and I remember my dad getting on the phone with Javed kind of when we heard the news, and, the family was kind of grouping, just to touch on this. And I remember him saying to Javed, he says, we're not going to lose you. You're not going to be one of these. I'm not letting you go. And so we're not letting Javed go. There's no way we're going to do that. We're going to fight for him. And thank you so much to those of you who are helping us in the fight. And so as you say your prayers, for Javed this week, also say a prayer for my parents, especially my dad, who's mourning the loss of his brothers this week, and who also has to deal with this extreme anxiety about his son. It's difficult for me to think what he might be going through. But thank you to all of you who've offered your support and your well wishes, who are calling and texting. It's something else. And so we appreciate all of it. And we wish you a very good weekend.